In grappling with the moral standards outlined in the Old Testament, where God commands the Israelites to undertake actions involving conquest, destruction, and enslavement, a perplexing question arises. How do we reconcile these directives with the moral principles expounded in the New Testament, which accentuate love, compassion, and forgiveness? This apparent dichotomy challenges us to delve beyond surface interpretations, urging a thoughtful exploration of the divine narrative that spans both epochs. Join us on a journey to unravel the complexities and discover a harmonious thread weaving through the moral fabric of the Old and New Testaments. It's essential to acknowledge prevalent misconceptions that have shaped our perceptions of the divine. The Old Testament is often painted with broad strokes of divine wrath, a God seemingly vengeful and demanding. Conversely, the New Testament is distilled into a narrative of boundless love and compassion. However, let us tread carefully on the canvas of these misconceptions. The dichotomy of a wrathful Old Testament God versus a solely loving New Testament God oversimplifies the profound tapestry of divine attributes woven throughout both scriptures. Our journey aims to untangle these perceptions, revealing a more nuanced portrayal of God's character that transcends these sweeping generalizations. So together, let us challenge these preconceived notions and venture into a deeper exploration of the divine narrative that defies simplistic categorizations. As we plunge into the depths of the Old Testament, we encounter narratives that have, at times, cast a shadow over our understanding of God. The devastating flood, the annihilation of Sodom and Gomorrah, and the commandments against the Canaanites present a challenging tableau. These stories, etched in the sacred scriptures, depict a God who, at first glance, appears wrathful and stern. In a world tainted by widespread corruption, God, grieved by humanity's wickedness, chooses to reset the narrative through a catastrophic flood. He still created a way for humanity to continue. Genesis 6:8. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. The cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, steeped in sin, face divine judgment. God reveals his intention to Abraham, who pleads for mercy. Ultimately, the cities are destroyed, sparing only Lot and his daughters. Genesis 18:25. Shall not the judge of all the earth do right? Commandments against the Canaanites. As the Israelites embark on their journey to the Promised Land, God issues commands regarding the Canaanite nations inhabiting the territory. These commands include conquest and occupation. Deuteronomy 7:2. And when the Lord your God delivers them over to you, you shall conquer them and utterly destroy them. You shall make no covenant with them, nor show mercy to them. In navigating these passages, we confront the challenge of reconciling these portrayals with our yearning for a God defined by love and compassion. How do we reconcile the God who flooded the earth with the God who promised never to do so again? These questions propel us beyond simplistic narratives, urging us to grapple with the multifaceted nature of God as presented in the Old Testament. Join us as we navigate these sacred verses, seeking understanding in the intricacies of divine actions and intentions. In the midst of the Old Testament's challenging narratives, there are gleams of divine love, mercy, and extraordinary patience. Consider God's interaction with Abraham regarding the fate of Sodom and Gomorrah. In Genesis 18:23-32, Abraham boldly negotiates with God, seeking mercy for the cities. The Lord's willingness to spare the cities for the sake of even 10 righteous individuals reveals a depth of compassion beyond immediate judgment. The Kingdom of Israel provides another poignant example. Despite the Israelites' repeated disobedience, God's enduring love is evident. Hosea 11:8 captures this sentiment. How can I give you up, Ephraim? How can I hand you over, Israel? This verse encapsulates God's internal struggle between judgment and love, showcasing a compassionate, paternal aspect of the divine character. The story of Nineveh in the book of Jonah further exemplifies God's profound mercy. Jonah, reluctant to deliver God's warning, witnesses the repentance of the city. Jonah 4:2 encapsulates God's character, describing him as a gracious and compassionate God, slow to anger and abounding in love. These narratives intricately weave through the Old Testament, revealing a God whose love surpasses human failings, a God who engages in dialogue, extends opportunities for repentance, and yearns for reconciliation despite the complexities of divine justice. Through these examples, we glimpse a multifaceted God, challenging the simplistic narratives often associated with the Old Testament. While Jesus is often embraced as the embodiment of love and compassion, a nuanced exploration reveals dimensions that challenge simplistic perceptions. Beyond the gentle shepherd, his teachings unveil a more forceful side. In Matthew 10:34, Jesus declares, "Do not think that I have come to bring peace to the earth. I have not come to bring peace, but a sword." This provocative statement underscores the challenging nature of his mission, emphasizing the transformative power of his message, which may incite division even within families. In overturning tables in the temple, Matthew 21:12-13, Jesus displays righteous anger against corruption, showcasing a fervor for justice. By examining these facets of Jesus' character, we move beyond the conventional portrayal, recognizing a complexity that resonates with the intricate interplay of love, justice, and the divine purpose inherent in both the Old and New Testaments. The apparent detestable practices in the Old Testament, such as the Canaanites sacrificing children to Moloch, present a moral quandary. To understand, we turn to Abraham's plea for Sodom and Gomorrah, revealing God's readiness to forgive and his offer of mercy even in the face of impending judgment. As seen in Genesis, the use of hyperbole in the Old Testament conveys the gravity of situations. God's instructions to the Israelites not to intermarry with their enemies, even after victories, employs hyperbolic language to underscore the importance of maintaining spiritual purity. Recognizing the temporary nature of the Old Testament theocracy is crucial. It was a unique and transitional period, not meant as an enduring ideal, but as a means to fulfill the promise of a new covenant. Jesus, fulfilling the law, emphasized the core commandments of love as the ultimate guide, encapsulated in the Great Commandment. Understanding context becomes paramount in interpreting Old Testament passages. Historical and cultural contexts shed light on seemingly challenging commands, preventing misinterpretation and facilitating a deeper understanding. Moreover, God provides reasons for his judgments, dispelling notions of arbitrary cruelty. For instance, his command to stop evil practices, like the Canaanite child sacrifices, demonstrates a moral imperative rooted in justice and compassion. In reconciling the Old Testament God, we unravel layers of complexity, emphasizing his consistent call for righteousness, justice, and an enduring love that transcends temporal theocratic structures. In our journey through the tapestry of the Old and New Testaments, the complexities and seeming contradictions dissolve to unveil the unity of God. Beyond the perceived dichotomy, God's character remains unwavering, infused with mercy, justice, and love throughout both epochs. As we reassess preconceptions, we find a singular divine thread weaving through the narrative, challenging us to embrace a richer, more nuanced understanding of the Almighty.